shift happens, when the north and south poles are going to shift, they could shift anywhere all the way up to 180 degrees.
Riley believes that during his lifetime, there will be a catastrophic polar shift, a movement of the Earth's north and south poles along the Earth's mantle, and that this drastic geological change will unleash a litany of natural disasters.
You can imagine the natural chaos that the Earth would be in. There's going to be tornadoes, earthquakes. We're going to have up to 300-mile-an-hour winds. What will things look like when your neighborhood is under fire? When your town has had a major earthquake go through it? Your home has been totally and completely destroyed in a matter of seconds.
Expecting chaos of truly biblical proportions, Riley and his wife Sarah began to seriously prep 5 years ago.
In the last 5 years, we've really taken a conscious effort to be more prepared with the food storage, with clothing, go bags, bartering items. We have spent approximately $300,000 in prepping.
And Riley's prepping has begun to creep into other parts of his life too. His family's welding shop used to specialize in railings and ornamental staircases. But recently, they've become known for a different kind of metalwork.
We've recently become a disaster shelter building business.
Current government guidelines suggest that for any disaster, from a hurricane to a nuclear war, being underground dramatically increases your chance of survivability. So Riley has started to build customized underground bunkers that he guarantees will see you and your family through the end of the world.
In a small town of about 3,500 people, big chunk of steel like this looking like a giant pressure cooker in the middle of their town, it's been quite the talk of our area for the last several months.
Today, local Kirk Mickelson has dropped in to see what all the fuss is about.
My curiosity got the best of me. I've driven by and seen you guys bring it in and was curious if you could just tell me what you were doing.
Yeah, do you have 10, 15 minutes? We can go on a quick little tour. When a pole shift occurs, you will not be able to survive in your conventional built home. That particular shelter is designed for 4 people to be under for 90 days.
So what type of natural disaster are you thinking?
Possibly a pole shift. The north-south poles of the Earth are going to shift, rotate.
A pole shift? I've never heard of such a thing.
I'm kind of sensing that you're a little skeptical about the whole situation.
Well, look at the thing.
I know, it looks funny, but when it's all underground, you won't see any of that.
It's a small community, so there's been a lot of comments about it.
Watch your head coming in. Wow, you've got hardwood floors and everything. Wow, this is incredible inside.
This is a refrigerator and a freezer, and they are designed to run off low voltage. Back here is your communication station. It's important to know with your equipment here of what's going on outside. It's probably not always safe to just open the hatch and take a look. You can have CCTV cameras set up out there as well on trees or rocks or whatever.
And if anyone is brave enough to try to break into one of Riley's shelters, he's devised a unique and final deterrent.
One of the options that we have on our shelters is that there's simply a button that we have at our communication station that will incinerate an intruder, someone that's coming in trying to harm you. You can simply push this button right here and eliminate that threat, a torch fire channel.
Just burn them down.
Yeah, that's what you get when you combine a prepper and a welder.
It's a concept I've never even considered. A pole shift, but I have a family. If something that extreme were to happen, I definitely want to keep my kids and family safe, you know.
A bunker buried in a distant bug-out location is only effective if you can get to it. Riley expects that the catastrophic nature of a polar shift will cause severe fuel shortages, so he has used his expert welding skills to solve the problem of transportation. His latest prepping tool is a custom-made Cook Original that he hopes will allow his family to carry supplies without needing a car or truck.
Someday, this just might be our new Cadillac. It's the Cadillac of a cooked future. When a polar shift happens, we're not going to have the fuel supply that we're accustomed to. Our vehicles are going to be worthless. Therefore, the handcart is a critical element in order to get ourselves from A to B.
This 100-pound handcrafted aluminum cart allows Riley to haul almost 9 times his body weight by distributing loads in the same way as a horse and cart. Except in this scenario, Riley is the horse.
When we first made the handcart, we wanted to test it out, and I put 1,200 pounds in the handcart, and I pulled it myself for almost 20 miles. So I know it works. The unique thing about the handcarts is that they float like a boat. They're watertight. So regularly we try and go out and test the handcart, make sure that we're all comfortable in it, so that in the event that we do need it, they'll just think it's another little family activity. This is just all part of our preparedness kit so that we can have transportation. The way that we educate our children and our prepping needs is basically show them ways of preparing for events and natural disasters that are going to take place, that have been taking place. So like with our food and our go bags, this is our cart to get us around. When there's no fuel, we just want to educate them on being prepared and being responsible. As we paddle across the Rio Grande.
But before Riley has to resort to the handcart, he's stockpiled enough fuel to get his family to their own underground survival shelter, 11,200 feet above sea level in the Colorado mountains. But will a test run end in disaster?
Did the car slide off the road?
Riley Cook and his wife Sarah will do anything to protect their family from the onslaught of natural disasters that they believe will follow a catastrophic polar shift.
When the polar shift happens, we are not planning on wasting any time around here. We plan on getting to our shelter as soon as possible.
Believing that a normal home will be no match against earthquakes, tsunamis, and superstorms, they have custom-built an underground shelter hidden 11,200 feet up in the Colorado mountains, 10 miles from the nearest form of civilization.
A bug-out location for us is just a place where we can go to be safe, be away from populated areas, and can sit through the transition period of whatever it is. The natural disasters, the social chaos, the polar shift. So we're going up to the cabin. We gotta dress up warm.
Riley believes that one of the consequences of a polar shift will be extreme weather patterns. So he's keen to practice bug-outs to their shelter in severe weather. And today, he's in luck.
Pretty significant storm come in last night. It's dropped about a foot, foot and a half here at our elevation, about 8,600 feet. We're going up to 11,000 feet. There'll be heavy rains, there'll be heavy snowfall. If it's in the winter, those are kind of the first signs of a pole shift taking place. This is kind of a good practice run going up with this much snow. Okay, let's go.
Emergency preparedness experts suggest that you practice evacuating your home at least twice a year and plot alternate routes in case roads become impassable. The remoteness of the Cook shelter means there is only one route they can take by car.
This particular highway is snow-packed and icy for a good 8 months of the year. It's kind of our lifeline, if you will. It's our route to our shelter. So it's a constant concern of ours. And the handcart would work and could work. It would be a little more
intense.
A little more intense. So obviously the way we want to get there is by vehicle. But if all else fails, we'll have to take the handcart.
Depending on the severity of the weather conditions, it would take Riley at least 12 hours to transport his family to the bug-out location in his custom-designed cart. The Cooks have already been on the road for 2 grueling hours, and the most difficult part of the journey is still ahead of them, driving up a completely unplowed mountain pass.
Right now, we're approximately 9,600 feet in elevation. Anyone who's not accustomed to this elevation, they are definitely going to start feeling some headaches and feeling thirsty and feeling a little bit nauseated. Did the car slide off the road? Not with Daddy driving.
At 10,000 feet, they still have another 1,500 feet to travel through the heavy snow.
Still climbing. It looks it's treacherous here when the pole shift happens. This is where we're going to need the safest. We're there.
Despite the long and difficult journey, Riley is confident that the prepping benefits of a remote shelter outweigh the drawbacks.
All the water up here is fresh, it's not runoff. There's a lot of food up here as far as elk and deer. If we ever had to resort to obtaining our food from that, that's the route we would go. Honey, I'm home.
As you'd expect from someone who makes survival shelters for a living, Riley's bunker has it all. 3 years worth of food supplies, 1,500-pound blast doors, CCTV cameras, ham radio equipment, and the odd domestic touch too.
Another important reason for us of having the shelter designed the way that it is, looking like a home, is that my wife didn't want to feel like she's living in a tank. Okay, we gotta bring some warm clothes up. Why?
Because so that we cannot be naked.
This is a little window that we have that reminds us of the time that we spent together as a family outdoors, and whatever period of time we're down here for, helps keeps us a little sane.
Riley, the experts have determined that you have a highly secured underground shelter. However, your shelter is too far away, and in an emergency or disaster situation, you may not make it to your bug out location.
I am going to spend more time, especially in our ways of getting to this location, and maybe moving over to the other side of the pass.
There is some scientific evidence that a true polar shift occurred 800 million years ago. Scientists believe that because our continents are now separated, such an event is almost geologically impossible. Contractor living in Northern California, but he hasn't quite given up his former life for relaxing days spent on the golf course.
Is that not funny? You can just love.
Instead, he devotes his time to a new passion.
I used to kayak and barroom dance quite a bit. I gave all that up. Most of my time right now is spent on prepping. I work 7 days a week, 10 to 14 hours a day. I've spent between $30,000 and $40,000 in preparations. I'm preparing for the second worldwide Great Depression. We're $15.2 trillion in debt. No one's doing anything to address the problems. We cannot continue to keep spending money in this country. At some point, this is all going to collapse, and there's going to be a massive, massive reset in the United States and worldwide. You're going to have a shortage of food. There's going to be food lines again, gas lines again.
During the last Great Depression in the 1930s, the unemployment rate rose above 20%. Homelessness was rife, and tens of thousands of Americans relied on soup kitchens to survive. And God believes that our future holds much worse.
In the first 9 months of this type of economic collapse, no food, no water, and amazingly simple sanitation. Without soap and water, disease everywhere, rampant, unstoppable. Simulations have been done up to an 80% loss for a population. The government's not going to be able to help. You are going to be on your own. That is the reality. Am I afraid of this economic apocalyptic event? Not really. Bring it on.
Doug has been prepping much of his life, but recently he's expanded his operations by turning his huge California ranch into a prepper's paradise.
The whole purpose for me building my self-reliant village is that if something should happen, you are only going to survive in a communal group.
Believing that his first line of defense against an economic collapse will be keeping starvation at bay, Doug has formulated a 4-stage post-apocalyptic food plan. As well as being able to hunt local game, he's breeding fish in his lake and building a 24